When teens felt that the poor conditions in their Providence High School were not being addressed, they turned to 12 News. 12 News reporter Laura Clarizo took their tape to the administration and got results. Now Hanley Technical School is on the road to repair. 12 News investigative reports, making a difference.
Mary Ring claims she was brutally attacked and set on fire last year, but not everyone accepts her story. Now she speaks for the first time in an exclusive interview with 12 News reporter Laura Clarizo.
Did you do this to yourself?
Exclusive. Whatever happened to Mary Ring? Thursday at 6 and 11 on 12 News.
In 1996, he was sentenced to life in prison for killing Victoria Cushman. 12 News reporter Laura Clarizo has the exclusive interview.
People have a right to expect more from a police officer. We're supposed to be a symbol, and people saw that I had flaws. I drank too much. I chased women, and it counted against me, and rightly so. But I was just a kid.
Jeffrey Scott Hornoff is no longer a kid and could spend most of his adult years locked away. In June of 1996, a jury found him guilty of first-degree murder. 12 people agreed that in August of 1989, the 26-year-old used a fire extinguisher to bludgeon to death 29-year-old Victoria Cushman. With his attorney and a special investigator at his side, Hornoff for the first time publicly speaks about Victoria Cushman.
It wasn't that we were lovers or she was my mistress. We were friends. I've never denied that. We were friends, and we made a mistake. We shared intimacies, and it happened twice.
Victoria Cushman's body was found in her Maple Street apartment in Warwick. That day, police discovered this unopened letter addressed to Hornoff.
Vicky said that she knew that there couldn't be anything between us, but she wanted to keep seeing me. And that's basically all the letter said.
And she never threatened to tell your wife?
No, she didn't.
During the trial, his defense attorney argued the state had a weak case, saying there was no physical evidence linking Hornoff to the crime.
I don't believe that.
The state, however, stands behind the evidence and conviction.
The 12 independent people hearing the evidence without any bias whatsoever convicted Mr. Hornoff based on the evidence which they heard. And if they didn't feel that way, they wouldn't have convicted him.
People have seen me represented by the prosecutor as a stark, sinister person who could take a life.
Hornoff says he is not a violent person and recalls a situation on duty where he says he could not harm a suspect.
We had a tip that a couple guys were going to rob a night depositor. And it turned out a guy pointed a gun at me. I couldn't shoot him. I'm glad he didn't shoot me, but I'm not a taker of life.
But many believe he is, including Victoria's father.
What gave him the feeling that he had the right to do something like this?
Robinson Cushman did not want to go on camera for this story, but as in the past, says he still believes Hornoff took his daughter's life.
State police, Warwick police, jurors, prosecutors say you did this. Could all those people be wrong?
They are wrong. They looked at me so long and so hard that they convinced themselves I didn't kill Vicky.
That's the same thing he told his superior officers. However, when first questioned, he denied the affair.
I didn't admit to my being intimate with her because I didn't want it being tape recorded at the time. I felt that if my wife was going to find out about it, I wanted to tell her.
It is still unclear if Hornoff was ever taped. And what jurors were not allowed to hear because of Rhode Island law is that he took a polygraph the same night he was questioned.
They came back that I was being truthful.
Truthful as to what?
As to, I had involvement with Vicky. I had sexual relations, but I didn't kill her.
But the credibility of how the polygraph was administered has come into question, along with the department's handling of the investigation. As a result, state police took over. In 1992, 3 years after the murder, Hornoff was arrested.
Because I cheated on my wife doesn't mean I'm a killer. I'm not.
Because the case is on appeal, state police did not want to comment. Warwick police were investigated for the way the case was handled. One report found no criminal wrongdoing. However, one major was demoted to the rank of captain and is no longer with the force. Now, tomorrow night, we will hear more from the Attorney General's office. And as you heard, the state stands behind this conviction. We'll also hear more from Hornoff, his wife, his mother, and also a special investigator who's looking into this case. Says he has some newly discovered evidence and it's hoping he can clear Hornoff with it.
But the victim's father still says he will not talk to you again.
No, he didn't want to talk for this interview, but he still believes on the phone, he told me, that this is the person that killed his daughter.
Okay. Thank you, Laura.
How's it feel being on the outside looking in this time?
It feels great. I still feel bad for the people in there, whether they're guilty or innocent.
Did operators of a Cape Cod booze cruise tell guests to throw beer and drugs overboard before helping a drowning woman? Our investigation says yes.
I heard a scream. I'm sure she was saying help or whatever, but you couldn't really make out words.
Passengers on board the Sea Genie say cries for help were the last words Catherine Kinsella uttered. Last July, the 20-year-old and 54 others boarded a booze cruise expecting to party. That party ended in tragedy when the young woman from Ireland fell overboard. She died. Now witnesses tell us they believe crew members didn't do enough to save her.
And how long before they called the Coast Guard? I would say 30 minutes.
We tracked down two women from Dublin who were on board the Sea Genie that night.
But I think they wanted to cover their own backs because they had people underage drinking on board.
Authorities say Cord Shore and his father were in charge of the Sea Genie that night. Passengers tell us after Catherine fell overboard, they instructed crew members to get rid of the booze before doing anything else. Yvonne O'Brien says some crew members were given flashlights to search for Catherine, but says that was not enough.
But they were only small torches. They weren't powerful enough to be able to even see anything properly.
We spoke with a man named David Crosby who says he worked for the Shores last summer and was on board the Sea Genie the night Catherine Kinsella died. He says her death was a tragedy and he was sorry he was ever a part of it. Although he did not want to go on camera, we did obtain his sworn testimony from a Barnstable town hearing. In it, he says, quote, "I hear clear as day, help me, clear as day." Question, over what kind of period of time? Answer, after about 15 minutes I heard it, and again about 10 to 15 minutes I heard it. When asked what was happening on board the boat, he answers, total confusion. The Shores were telling us to get the beer cans off the boat. He had told me he'd thrown the marijuana off the boat.
Did you see what's been said in the transcripts?
We caught up with Cord Shore at his Barnstable home.
One of your workers said that Catherine was crying for help and that nobody helped her. You were throwing beer off. And I just want to make sure we're being fair.
The Coast Guard will tell us all crew members passed drug and alcohol tests that night. They will not comment further on the investigation. Meantime, those who witnessed Catherine's death are outraged.
I thought it was terrible, absolutely unacceptable, disgraceful.
The lights are out, the signs are down, dresses are gone, shoes scattered. A handwritten note that says closed, along with a piece of paper naming Aurea D'Souza as the owner, are the few pieces of evidence that indicate Nina's Bridal Salon ever existed on Reservoir Avenue in Cranston.
I have my wedding in 15 days.
Cranston attorney Patricia Murray is wondering what happened to her gown and 3 wedding party dresses. Tuesday, she drove by and realized the shop was cleaned out.
I parked and I looked inside and realized it had a closed sign.
What did you think when you realized the store was vacant?
I went into a panic.
Patricia says she paid owner Aurea D'Souza $2,400 and was promised the dresses by Thursday.
She doesn't care what happens to her brides. I mean, she just leaves you in the lurch.
This is not the first time brides have been upset. In June, 12 News investigated several consumer complaints. D'Souza admitted she sold sample and fake dresses to customers.
This dress sounds like a big diaper.
This is about all that's been left behind at the salon, a few gowns and a pair of shoes. The landlord of the building tells us D'Souza moved out over the weekend, and she has not seen or heard from her since. She also tells us that D'Souza had a few years left on her lease. At the hair salon across the street, employees say since Monday, several brides have come to the salon.
There's been about 5 to 10 people coming in here trying to hunt her down.
She has stolen. I've already paid for the dresses, and she took them.
Patricia realizes she may never get her money back, but did file a fraud complaint with police.
You make it with a check?
She's got to pay for it somehow. If I can get her from ever
opening up a salon either in Rhode Island or anywhere else. That's my goal.
Because of it? No, I think a lot of the kids that come to these dances anyways don't come like to drink. They come to just have fun. I think that the kids who drink wouldn't come anyways.
All right, Corey, spell your first name for me.
S-C-O-R-E-Y.
All right, thanks a lot. You have fun tonight. All right, in 3, 2, 1. At this Westwood High School dance, no admittance without a breathalyzer test.
Just give yourself a little more lag after one so they don't catch you.
All right, in 3, 2, 1. At this Westwood High School dance, no admittance without a breathalyzer test.
Yeah. Honda has their first pickup truck coming out in March, and they should come out with a hybrid version of that because it's 1621, I think, is the mileage in that. Good, real good for a truck, yeah. But it's or with over a certain capacity, with the hybrid discount that you get, you get it all in one. I can't believe they give you a $2,000 tax deduction for a hybrid, where they give you a $10,000 tax deduction for buying a truck that burns gas. That doesn't make sense. So usually they wouldn't do that after the vehicles arrive. So. Yeah, I am too. I mean, it's Odyssey and the Pilot, pretty much. Yeah. It's pretty cool. I mean, it has like a whole host of firsts for truck. Yeah. It swings open. It's also the first truck ever with an independent and a live rear axle. Those two things combined. Now, and it also, makes truck look like they do. Because essentially you have the frame that it sits on, and then you just stick, and it's and the bed's always something like 200% greater torsional rigidity, meaning that it can flex more. Yeah, and so you have, it's gonna feel like driving a car. Yeah, it's going to be a truck, and it has all the utility of a truck, but just the fact that it has the advanced sort of build, and also the first truck with the transversely mounted. Yeah. That's one of the things. Well, the real-time four-wheel drive is even better than most all-wheel drive systems because essentially it uses, and I'm not sure, this is the only thing I'm not positive about, in most of the Honda vehicles, it's front-wheel. Essentially, it's like 100% zero, and then essentially based on VTM 4-lock, which is basically it sets you into like a four-wheel low setting. So you can press that button and you either have to be in first or second gear, and it sends full power to all four wheels.
Manually, or
if you're out of that mode, there's no button to press, no. Oh, the one other drawback on this car, which isn't a big one, is they took out the powered passenger seat. That was also a weight consideration.
I think for anybody who's going to be looking into a hybrid seriously,
this is well above and beyond whatever that is.
Just explain it to me first.
Sure. first of all, let me do that again. Do you have the camera going? Okay. See, these green lights and the blue light here in the dash, you have a charge and assist. So it tells you in real time whether you're using the IMA or the integrated motor assist, the electrical engine, for assisting the gas engine, or if it's charging using its regenerative charging. And there's also an eco button, an eco light, which won't come on right now because I'm not in drive. But when you're driving, this eco light will come on and let you know whenever you're using the greatest fuel efficiency. So it will actually teach you how to drive the car for the most fuel efficient manner. And then it also gives you a real-time battery power right here. Right now the battery's at about 50%. This car's been inside in the showroom, so it hasn't been driven. It has to be driven for the battery to regenerate. Essentially, other than that, you just see the integrated motor assist emblem right up here in between the speedometer, and that's essentially the only differences that you see when you're in the car. But it does show you in real time what it's doing, and it gives you real-time numbers for fuel economy based on how you're driving the vehicle. Yeah.
All right, I'm rolling.
Okay. You have your charge and assist bars down at the bottom that gives you a real-time indication of whether your electrical motor, the integrated motor assist, is being used to assist the gasoline engine or whether it's being used as a generator to charge the batteries.
Okay, and then, so tell me how a person reads it.
You would essentially read either the assist or the charge bar, and as well as the eco indicator light above, to tell whether if the assist portion goes all the way out to the right, you're essentially using the integrated motor assist to its fullest extent. Whereas if the charge green light on the left goes all the way to the left, you're getting full charging status out of the now generator, which it converts to when you're not using it for charge, which then charges the battery.
All right, so tell me again about the battery.
Okay. Basically, you'll either be using an assist from the integrated motor assist electrical engine, which will be assisting the gasoline engine. If the blue bars go all the way to the right, you're at the greatest assist mode. If the green bars go all the way to the left, you're at the maximum charge, which will in turn charge the battery, which levels are shown right here.
Do me a favor and go back and point to the battery meter again.
Okay. You have the battery meter right here on the right, which is right now showing half full charge. And here in the center between the charge and assist will show you in real time when you're using your greatest fuel economy, which in turn teaches you over time how to drive your car with the greatest fuel efficiency.
Okay. Tell me about that up there and point to, yeah.
This here is a microphone that is hooked into the active noise cancellation system with the Accord Hybrid. Essentially the way it works is the variable cylinder management system that shuts down the rear cylinder banks when they're not necessary to give you greater fuel economy could cause extra noise inside the vehicle. So what they do is they use an electronic signal that will use the opposite signal of the sound coming from the engine to cancel out the noise. It's called a active noise cancellation.
And can you just say something along the lines that, you know, this makes it a lot quieter?
Sure. This essentially will cancel out any additional noise that would be added to the system because of the integrated motor assist or the variable cylinder management that make the vehicle so fuel efficient, and essentially making the vehicle much quieter than it normally would be.
Okay, great.
I love that feature.
All set? All right. All right, so bottom line, we've talked mechanics numbers, we've talked prices. Actually, somebody who's driven the car, what can we say about a hybrid?
Well, I tell you what, this is the first hybrid that essentially is no compromise. When I drove this car first, I was really taken back by the additional acceleration that it gave you over a standard V6, and it gives you gobs more of low-end torque, which is what kind of puts you back in your seat when you hit the gas pedal. And you know, most hybrids, you'd think that you got to give something up from a performance standpoint to get that additional fuel economy. But in this vehicle, you get 15 more horsepower, you get additional torque up to 30% on the low end, and you get all the features of the regular vehicle, you know, you do pay more for the vehicle itself, but you get a $2,000 income tax deduction as well as the fuel savings, which over time will pay for itself.
So what are we talking about?
Stop down for a second. Do a reaction.
Was that too long, or do you want to cut that up?
No, that was actually, no, we can cut that up, but that was perfect. If you can, yeah,
Okay.
I mean, that was great.
All right, let's just re-ask that again.
All right. So bottom line, you know, we know the mechanics, we've heard the fuel efficiency, but from somebody who's actually driven it, what can you say about a hybrid?
I'll tell you what, the first time I got behind the wheel of this car, it really struck me as to how much quicker it was than the normal V6 Accord. You get much better low acceleration as well as low-end torque. This is the first hybrid vehicle really that's out there that you don't have to compromise anything to get the vehicle. Generally, you think you got to compromise on performance to get better fuel economy, but in this vehicle, you get 15 additional horsepower over a regular 240 horsepower V6, as well as 30% more low-end torque, which is really what puts you back in your seat when you press the gas pedal. And so this vehicle, I mean, it was really fun to drive. I can't wait until I can put one in my driveway.
All right, how about in terms of, you know, actual dollar-wise, in terms of, you know, what are we talking about price difference?
You have roughly about a $3,000 difference in price. There's only two models available in this vehicle. You have the V6 Hybrid, which this is, and then you also have one available with voice-activated navigation controls. And both are about $3,000 different in price from their normal V6 counterparts, but you have a $2,000 income tax deduction that you get when you purchase a hybrid, as well as the fuel savings, which over time will pay for the added cost of the vehicle.
Now, what about features in the car? Are you giving up any kind of features that you would if you bought, you know, again, a standard gas car?
No, that's the great thing about this car. Not only does it have all the features that you'd normally get in a V6 EX Accord, but you get additional horsepower and additional torque. So you're actually getting more rather than giving up, which is what I anticipated you'd have to do to get a hybrid vehicle.
Now, you know, a lot of people have the earlier versions of hybrids in their mind, these small, very small cars. How about family? Somebody who has a family, what are we talking about for space?
I tell you what, you have passenger capacity in this car for 5 full-size adults. You have excellent front headroom and rear headroom. The rear headroom is so spacious that it's limousine-like in the back. So, I mean, you can use this as just a regular family car, but then when your kids are at home, you got yourself a nice sports sedan. And, you know, to top it all off, it's a hybrid, so you're getting 37 miles per gallon on the highway.
Anything else, Karen?
Great.
Yeah.
No,
His daughter there.
Well, we don't.
All the guys say whenever the guys do something,
Yeah.
you know, when like for me,
yeah.
Usually they'll be saying, you know, can you, that I did this.
Ray's been great. He's a nice guy.
You know,
I said I used to party at his house.
I come look at the Ridgeline and the Odyssey. So I don't really have. I mean, I think there's one up in Lowell somewhere, a Honda dealership. But,
Where do you live?
Yeah, so.
Where you guys?
So I mean, it's right off. Yeah, we're right off Morrissey Boulevard. And right near the Globe.
You know, during the outreach plan that they put together and whatnot, really, cut back on a lot of that stuff because we were really.
Oh, thank you. Yes. I was just going to say, I told Matt what I'm going to do is when this runs next week, I'll try to give you guys a hauler. I'll let him know, and he can let you guys know when it's going to run.
Yeah.
It's going to one of the night.
Can I grab one of you guys though? I know Ray's going to ask me who was on camera. So who did it?
Yeah, I got everybody. Well, we had an array. We had Carl. I don't even think Carl gave me his. I got Nick.
I'm surprised Ray wasn't in here talking about it.
Yeah, he was gonna.
He's a real behind the camera type of guy.
Yeah.
We're trying to push him out front.
He doesn't.
Ernie Bach though.
I try. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. That's a whole nother class.
Yeah.
Goes on. Yeah.
And I've even given him bullets before and said, this is what you got to do. But
you had that one good. What was his Big Ray? Hey, this is big. Remember that article that was
the Herald?
The Herald.
All right. Anytime. Go ahead.
All right. I did 3, 2, 1. So bottom line, if you think a hybrid may be a possibility for you, make sure you check out all the models because new ones are rolling out all the time. And by all means, make sure you take the test drive.
All right, let's do it. All right, I'm rolling.
And in 3, 2, 1. So the bottom line, if you think a hybrid may be a possibility for you, make sure you take the time to check out all the models because new ones are rolling out all the time. And by all means, take the test drive.
All right, I'm rolling.
And in 3, 2, 1. If you think a hybrid may be... Let's start that again. And in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so bottom line, if you think a hybrid may be a possibility for you, make sure you take the time to test drive.
All right, I'm rolling.
And in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so bottom line, if you think a hybrid may be a possibility for you, make sure you take the time to look at all the models because new ones are rolling out all the time. And by all means, take the test drive.
All right, I'm rolling.
And in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so bottom line, if you think a hybrid may be a possibility for you, make sure you take the time to test all the models. No, I didn't want to see that.
All right, I'm rolling.
And in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so bottom line, if you think a hybrid may be a possibility for you, take the time to check out all the models because new ones are rolling out all the time. And by all means, take the test drive.
All right, just drive by.
In 3, 2, 1. Okay, so bottom line, if you think a hybrid may be a possibility for you, take the time to check out all the models because new ones are rolling out all the time. And by all means, take the test drive.
Step on the brake for a minute. Turn the lights on, rather. There you go. Leave the lights on. All right, and go ahead, drive away. Good.
Just step on that thing. There you go over there. Here he comes. Yeah, you can...
How to get over to that street? That street is a little congested. If you want, I can bring you to a slightly better street. Not. And take a right after the Cadillac dealership here.
Okay.
Is that extra good?
Yep.
See the road where you want to go on is about as narrow as
This one?
Yeah. So I'm going to take you to the left up here ahead. Okay. It's perfect. But there's a little bit more of an open street.
Cool. Amazing how that cuts. It's almost like the car stalled.
See how instantly it comes back then when you touch the gas.
As soon as I let my foot off the brake.
Yeah.
So it senses it.
Yep. You're going to take a left up here.
Okay. I mean, I noticed very...
Yeah, the low end torque is amazing. That's the biggest thing that you notice. Just go straight through here, and then it brings us to the little...
open area?
Open area.
Great.
So you can, right here, you can go down the right side. I'm gonna hop out and indulge in my bad habit.
Go for it.
All right, Joe, just I want to get a shot here. You just driving before I jump out.
Okay.
Go ahead. Oh, sorry. And can you drive with that hand lower? Yeah.
Sure.
All right, you're just driving now. All right, I'll get out and get... All right, just drive right by me. No, that's not him.